Hello, we are Ana Diaz and Iris Fajardo, and this is the summary of our discussion. Right here, we will be talking to you about some aspects involving communication. So let's start. What is communication? Communication can be defined as a process that implies a sender and a receiver. A message is transmitted from one to the other through a channel. Communication can have different shapes and goes beyond just words, written or spoken. It can be anywhere, and people can communicate through gestures or signs and even forms of art expression. Nowadays, communication has evolved thanks to technological features and a more globalized world. Globalized world. The term globalized world is directly related to globalization that is defined by Rangarajan in 2003 as integration of economies and societies through cross-country flows of information, ideas, technologies, goods, services, capital, finance, and people. The essence of globalization is connectivity. Cross-border integration can have several dimensions: cultural, social, political, and economic. A globalized world where everything is in some way related or interconnected and that goes beyond economic goods. A world where cultural exchanges have no boundaries or limits and where technology plays an important role in everyday life communications. Knowledge society. According to Yehit Ganlar 2015, knowledge society can be defined as a new society formed as a result of the contemporary societal change pushed by technological innovation and institutional transformation, which is not only about technological innovations, but also about human beings, their personal growth, and their individual creativity, experience, and participation in the generation of knowledge. Technology has affected so many areas of our lives in many positive ways that it's even defining our future, the knowledge of generations, and the goods and services of humankind. Societies that look further into the future and invest in human capital are those that can be considered as knowledge society. Now, what is ICT? ICT stands for Information and Communications Technology. It involves technology and can be defined as all kinds of devices or networks that are able to connect people or organizations. In other words, the bridge between human resources and technology. It allows people that are miles away from each other to communicate in an easier and effective way. So, can we relate these terms? Yes, of course we can. We could say that communication is the base of all the terms mentioned before. Without communication and its advances, we wouldn't have a globalized world, and some societies wouldn't put so much work into improving their human capital. Furthermore, we can notice that everything is in some way interconnected or related because of communication and technology. So now let's take a look at the contributions to the advanced development of communication. You might be thinking, what are the most important ones in the 20th and 21st century? Well, let's start with the radio, which began in the 1890s. This works with the transmission and reception of electromagnetic waves of radio frequency, especially those carrying sound messages. The impact of the radio was how it brought cultures together. Next, we have the television or TV. This not only transmitted voices, audios, but images too. The system converts visual images with sounds into electrical signals and finally displays them electronically on the screen. Later comes the telephone, which we owe to Alexander Graham. The telephone had the ability to maintain communication with a specific individual at a specific place through a system for transmitting voices over a distance using wire or radio, by converting acoustic vibrations to electrical signals. The cell phone or mobile phone. This time you could be anywhere and talk to anyone. Finally, we have the internet, the famous internet, which led us to communicate worldwide through electronic devices. People can access information whenever they please. Now, in the 21st century, social networks is what has made the biggest impact. It lets us connect with people all around the world, entertain, share things in real time, and keep close to business matters. How is it possible to manage weakness in communication process? This is wide and depends a lot on the person that is going through the communication process. Yet, as you present a flaw or weakness during a speech or presentation because you feel way too nervous, or maybe you feel afraid of what people might think, try not to lose your mind. Take a deep breath and focus on your goal. Sometimes trying to imagine that you are alone in your room can work, or looking at people's foreheads. And something very important is not to try and read people's mind. What matters the most when managing weakness during a communication process is to make sure that the audiences or who you're talking to understands the message fully, and if they don't, try to explain them in the best way possible. How to improve your communication process? Study a bit more. Try to prepare yourself more and more every day so when the time comes to give the speech or similar, you will be prepared enough to stand out and manage the situation properly. Pay more attention to details. Don't take anything for granted. Details are important, and things such as gestures or funny faces can distribute the way that the message is being delivered. Practice. The more you practice, the better you'll be. Your communication process will be better each time that you practice a bit more, and you'll surely feel satisfied once you've done it. We hope you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you for watching.